Ben and Jerry Gulley, father and son, world champions, outright winners, deep thinkers, businessmen. They're all these things and more. I was super lucky to sit down with the two boys and catch up on the rope this week. Get comfortable, there's plenty to hear.
All right, so I'm here with Ben and Jerry Gulley. If you've ski raced, you know them. You've seen them. They do stuff. Benjamin, Gerald, welcome.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mick.
So I've spent weeks on this trying to work out the best way to do it because we're at a really good place here where we can get two different sides to the same story, but there'll also be really good individual stories from both of you that maybe the other one wasn't so involved in. So my original plan is let's just start at the beginning, and that'll be a little bit Jerry heavy, and then as we progress through our racing years, Benny's part will get a little bit bigger and we can then back and forth a bit on there if that's cool.
No problem.
Sounds solid. All right, well, I know how Benny did, sort of. But Jerry, how did you start water skiing?
It was my brother's fault, Don, of course.
Lots of things are.
And he got mixed up because I think he sold a vehicle to a bloke called Rankin. And the bloke called Rankin ran a boat called the Baker.
Yeah, righto.
Back in the day. And Don was invited out to one of the local dams. And then he decided
This is for us.
This madness he saw. I think Peter Rankin took Don out for a lap in the boat, got his adrenaline going, and Don wanted more of that. So since Jerry knew something about, or had a social ski boat and could ski and knew something about it, he thought he'd trick me, the bastard, and bring me on board.
That's how they get you.
Which was not that hard to convince, but anyway. So we took the social boat out and started racing it all about 65 mile an hour, I think it did. And a bloke called Mel Johnson was the first bloke who took some pity on us and threw a rope on the back and let us start driving around the dam.
Beautiful. What boat was that?
Advance was its name.
Okay, and what was that?
Nearly a one-off, rear-mounted, had a 351 Ford in it. It was a chaparral. Anyway,
okay. Yeah.
Rear-mounted hatch boat, one of a kind.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, and this again leads into one of my big issues. I've written all these things I want to talk about, and your progression in your boats is one of them because there's been some crackers along the way. But if we just talk about boats, we're going to find ourselves waylaid into different conversations. So yes. I think we'll just keep going. So you've started racing. It was the boat you had, but did we fancy it up a little bit, or
not that much? We soon learnt that
is that going
to be a lost cause.
I was going to say, is that a Jerry Gulley not too much, or is that an actual not too much?
Not too much.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we've worked out we like it, obviously.
Yes.
So when it had to go.
Yes.
To be replaced with something better.
Yep.
That was.
Double trouble.
It was double trouble.
The Stevens.
Yeah, beautiful little 18'6" V bottom.
Yes.
6 litre. Was it originally?
Correct. Stock. We went stock 6 litre.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then was Benny skiing by then?
Bits and pieces.
Probably very early on. Yeah.
I found an amazing photo that'll go up on the website when this goes up, Benny, of you standing in front of Bitchin, and you weren't very big.
I can remember that.
And I remember the little blonde-haired little man just running around.
Yep.
God, if only we knew.
And those old bucket helmets made of wetsuit material.
Yeah. Hey, there could be something to be said about that. That might come up later in the safety chat. All right, so stock 6 litre, you're running Queensland Series.
Yes.
Were you venturing beyond that at the time?
Not for the first few years. We figured if we needed to be able to clean up the local end to be worthwhile or be competitive, learn some things.
Yeah. There was some decent comp back then.
Correct.
Early
yes.
Queensland. I think I was fringy then. I was younger,
yes.
a bit older than Benny, but not real old.
Yes.
So strategy would have been around then?
Yes. Strategy was we were on the tail end of strategy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And it was a very serious 6 litre.
Correct. Yes.
Injected Everingham, was it?
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Bitchin we talked about. Noel would have had his 2 boats
Correct.
there around, Little Loose and Cut Loose, and every iteration of those 2.
That's right. Yes.
So obviously at some point you switched from stock to actual 6 litre with that?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Who were you skiing? You were in the boat then?
Yeah, earlier days I did a bit, only to realise I didn't have the time or the ability back then to hang on to it from one end to the other as it got faster and faster. And yeah, I think we started testing everyone's ability.
It's all right. As you wait for veterans to come around, you don't have to ski as fast. Oh, not as fast, not as far, definitely. So in that, how long did you have double trouble?
About 10 years we ran that.
Yeah, righto. And so I would have said the back half of that, Benny was sort of starting to...
I can remember Ben and Stouty.
It was Brendan, wasn't it?
Brendan, yes. Did under 13 sudden 80 in that. That was its 3rd run down the sudden 80k course.
Yeah, okay.
Of the day. Yep. 1 expert, 1 social, 1 under 13s.
So
Yep.
Success has come early in the piece and just continued, which is another thing we'll cross over onto. So under 13, Benny, how young were you when you started? You didn't look real big. I'll give you the drum in this photo.
Well, I started on doubles, and I would have been 5 or 6 at the time.
Yeah, okay. So you're 5-6 years in there, yeah.
Yeah, and I was really sort of fearless at the time. So my style back then was just wave up until I fell off, put the skis back on, and get up, and then just finish the race.
The best part is at 30, 40 mile an hour you can do that.
Yeah,
doesn't quite work anymore, does it?
No.
And he's not here, but Lukey, your brother, was he racing around that time, or did you suck him in a bit later?
No, they both started together because Luke's 4 years older. So
yeah.
Yep.
And you boys sort of, for a lot of your racing, you were sort of thereabouts together. You skied together a little bit, but not probably as much as you should have?
Not a lot, because he was always older, so he was much faster than me early days. And then as we wind the clock forwards to probably about 2005 and 6, that's when I started doing a lot of training, and I quickly stepped it up, and we kind of never really crossed paths.
Same place at the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
Did again, we'll get to it.
But
you won Robinvale with Lukey?
Yeah.
With the original Merc Force?
2009.
Yeah, okay.
So we did ski a season together in around that 2008-2009 period. We
Yeah, all
skied
right.
1 or 2 seasons together.
Yeah, well, we have jumped ahead there because we've completely missed. So, success in under 13s with Gerry, and then were you driving then or observing?
I mainly observed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Donnie driving the 6 litre?
Yes.
All right, and then did you move straight to Rebel? I can't remember. That's why you're
Look,
here.
I skied with a lot of different boats back then.
Yeah.
Rebel I did in under 16s for a season.
With Brendan. Yes.
Yeah, there was records there too, wasn't there?
Yeah, with Brendan Stout. And then I remember in the last year in under 16s, I skied with Chris Stout behind Wildfire, and I jumped up to under 19s because Chris was a little older. I can't quite recall who else which other team. There was a team there.
Did a lot behind Chris Fu with the mock boat too, didn't you? Was that early days? Or was that doing double runs? Because you're renowned for doing double runs.
That was under 16s with Brendan Stout.
Yeah, okay.
So we did under 13s, and then the next year we did under 16s with Twisted.
Okay. Did you run mock as well with him?
We did social. We did social mock with him, me and Brendan, and I remember I learned a lesson there that social hurts a lot.
One of the listener questions I put out was as Martin thinking he's funny, talking about you skiing social with me, but we'll get to that too. And the joke's on Az because that was you that asked me, not the other way around. So, yeah, so you've always been busy though, and one of my vivid memories, even Gerry said before, that was the 3rd race of the day for that boat. Like, was you boys at races just doing multiple runs at the same race? Like, was it just you couldn't get enough skiing? Or like it's all training for something else, or was it just you just were having a ball and go again?
just let's do as much as we can. The best we could do out of Queensland Local Series, I think I counted there were 76 races in the series. We did 75. The boat just had a little bit of a overheat issue. I had to skip a race to sort it out.
That is unreal.
A whole series day season.
Yes, 76 races in a series, and we did 75. Missed one by, if they'd stalled it 10 minutes, we would have got there.
If I was in charge, mate, I would have held it off. Don't worry about that. God, fuel was cheaper then, yeah?
We were using a lot.
Although your stock 6 litre or your actual 6 litre probably used equivalent fuel to one of your new ones.
Yeah.
Got a bit further.
Advantage back those days, you didn't have to pull them out of the water to refuel them, so you could keep chucking the fuel at them pretty quick.
So that was that year, but the black boat didn't have a lot of boat dramas with it ever, did you? From my recollection.
Look, not that most people saw, but I remember one presentation year. I did give one of the main skiers, Chad Hicks, who had been skiing with us for some time. I gave him a whole carton full of broken pistons, con rods, all the broken bits it took to keep it going. So there was lots of work behind the scenes.
That hasn't changed either with the big ones, unfortunately. All right, that's cool. So you went double trouble to ultra trouble? Or was there? No, there was strike in between, wasn't there? God, why do you have so many boats? It's so hard to keep up.
Yeah. It was skipping it. We had a little run in and out of a racecraft.
I remember that.
Yeah. And, Strike 2, I think, came on the scene.
And that went on to be Crimsafe / Sour Family Racing, 18, 19, 20 Cyclone? I don't
19.
19.
One of 3 19-foot rear stern drive.
Stern drives. And it started as a 5.2 as Cyclone Tracy.
Owners. Yeah, so our reason was with it, doing the amount of races we did, it was silly run at the expense of a hot engine. So we built a very mild, all aluminium light training engine boat, so to speak.
Yep.
And I can remember at 60 hours, we'd never got that sort of run out of an engine. We pulled it apart, worked out we'd wasted our time, put it back together and kept racing it. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
We did some miles too, whether it laps at series days or around the country. So
correct. Yes.
Benny, by that time you'd moved sort of out of the family kind of racing business for a while to go chase, like we said, the Rebel and Wildfire.
Yeah.
And now we are getting back. You came back when they... Did you run with the 6 litre with Ultra?
No.
No, that was Luke and Spud?
No, so
for the most
pretty
part?
much I went to... With regards to rivers, I kind of went sort of... After under 13s, I sort of went Twisted, Rebel, Wildfire. And then I think I might have skied behind Steve Minahan for a season then.
Yeah, okay.
In 8 litre.
Yep.
And we set some good times there. And then the following year, Superclass, I think, with Wildfire.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yep. And then...
With Big Stout?
No. I had a couple of different skiers that season. I remember skiing with Tommy Smith.
Yeah, nice.
Grafton.
Yep. I know you've skied with Waves. That was later in the place. That wasn't that early.
Yeah. Look, that's we're going back 12, 13 years ago now, Mick. And
it's all right for you. You've still got a young mind, buddy.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I've done a lot of racing. It's hard to keep track of
it is.
all.
And that... As I was trying to put stuff together, that's all I could keep thinking was, holy shit, you boys have done so much. Like, it's unreal. But, okay, so Benny's off setting records, winning 19, 16s, Strike's doing what it needs to do, just series day boat, you were using it here and there.
Strike 2, yeah. Yeah, it only went to a couple of races. It never was taken anything to be serious.
Serious.
Just to have a boat that did some pace and rotated around.
And then you've got the idea in your head that you can build a 6 litre that's going to end all 6 litres. Was that where?
Oh, it was getting obvious that the V drives were struggling to keep up with the stern drives,
Yep.
so it was time to move on to play with stern drives.
And ironically, even after you left, it was still ballistically fast and setting records. And
Yeah.
did you get a good run out of it, or did you get the potential out of it? Like, I know a lot went into it.
Well, definitely got the potential out of it, but the potential just keeps growing with availability of new stuff. Talking about 6 litre, to give you an idea, when we started in Double Trouble, I remember going down Grafton testing, we needed to be able to do early 80 mile an hour.
Yeah, okay.
Right? By the time we jumped out of the Bullet, which was called Troublemaker, you at least needed to be towing 2 skiers up into the early 100 mile an hour.
Yep, and that was right in the kryptonite.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yep. And Dave's the same thing. Lightweight bullet there.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah, and really probably pushing the sport. I've got the word tech written here with like big circles around it. Do we want to talk about the adjustable rams in the 6 litre? Or do we want to just pretend it didn't happen? And
Oh, no.
no,
That was all fine. You go to Echuca, you push that engine all the way back, you slid it all the way back, you hunted the nose out and off you went. You got a little bit of mile an hour out of that. You go to Echuca, she slammed it all the way forward.
was it originally designed to move as you were going, or never?
We could move it back as we're going because of weight.
Yep.
Meant the gear wasn't over strong.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yep.
that's the only reason. It's all about powder weight, those bullets, and
Yep.
and running 6 litre. So couldn't afford too much
So
weight.
there was definitely something in having it forward or back.
Yeah, but you could normally understand what you needed, and you
Yeah.
preset
Yeah,
it.
prepared
and we could
and-
change it on the day.
Oh, beautiful.
You
yeah.
could actually, with your help of your foot, you could actually move it back during a race.
Yeah, okay.
But not enough ram power, big enough rams to move it against its torque.
Right.
Yep.
Was anyone else? Did anyone else do that, or was that was
That's
a you?
the only one I ever know of. Yep.
Well, and it's ironic because I mean you can't see this as a audio thing, but we're sitting just across from a giant yellow boat that was also the first one of ever. Really, wasn't it? I can't think
a few. Definitely, Randy Davis been up to dual drives for.
Yeah, but I can't think of a boat under 38 foot that has 2 6 drives on it.
No.
Except this one right here.
Exactly.
But that's all right. We'll get back to that. Like I said, everything's just crossing paths at the moment. Do you know what year the Bullet was?
I have a figure of 06 in my head for some reason.
I think 06, 07.
Yeah, somewhere,
All right. Well,
somewhere through that period.
Well, then we've already bypassed it because Benny's already been to the Worlds by then.
Correct. Yes.
Went to England, raced juniors. Do you ski behind the Flemings over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I did the selection races behind Moonshot.
Tough crowd. Yeah.
Yeah. So the selection started in 2004 with Moonshot. Lester drove a few races, same as Ian Tricker.
Yep.
Depending on the availability, and made the team. I think so. I went across to England with Brendan Stout. Brendan Stout was the other junior skier.
Yep.
And I skied behind Frank Fleming there.
Yeah,
We
beautiful.
joined,
And that's you still in contact with the Flemings and
Yeah.
like start of your huge, international ski racing family because there's a lot of people in that one now. So
yeah.
it was wild, wasn't it, Hunstanton? I remember seeing video and photos and just going, why are they racing in the surf? Like, what's...
I honestly wish almost every world title was like that.
Yeah.
It was a ball, but yeah, it was definitely big. I remember looking at the photos and the boats were disappearing. It was massive. It was.
Yeah, I remember watching Randy with Todd and just... back then, that was the biggest boat I'd ever seen. Was it a Cyclone back then or was it a
Cyclone?
Nordic then? It still had the big windscreen. It was the white and orange one.
Cyclone.
Yeah.
But twin leg,
Yes.
and it just exploding through the face of these waves, and very, very cool. Third that year?
Third, yeah.
Okay, so you were number 2 skier.
Yep.
where were you in the selections compared to Brendo?
My memory is we always had pretty good battles.
Yep.
I can't remember all the placings, but I'm pretty sure Brendan got a number of firsts, and I may have snuck in one or two.
Yep.
But I'd have to look at records. My memory's not that great.
And you do so many, it's hard to keep track, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So did you go over there, now should you, like, you don't need to, you've done enough, but should you go to a Worlds now, you would turn up with a very, to me, correct me if I'm wrong, a very clear understanding of where you think you're going to come, how you're going to achieve that result, and know that you've turned up with the right prep.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
We always go there hoping to achieve a certain level.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Right?
Well, it is ski racing, but
with experience, you know what to expect and you know how to prepare. So
Yep.
every world gets not necessarily easier, but the preparation becomes easier and you know what to expect.
Well, that was my point. But when you got to that Worlds in England, did you go, oh, wow, this isn't what I thought? Or had you...
No, I don't think it had hit me by that stage because I was so young and I was just having fun. And I was like, wow, I'm at world titles and...
How good is skiing out here and head high waves, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest experiences, of my skiing career and that time.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And were we absolute bay bandits before the 05 Worlds? Or did you work into that?
Well, that's what made us Bay Bandits.
Yeah, okay.
Was the training for those
Yeah.
Worlds. We spent probably 6 months out in that bay before the Worlds.
Oh, and what have you probably spent out there now? 8 years?
Oh,
Wait,
Hang on, I'll do the numbers here.
coming up 16
05 to
years.
20 is 15 at least, yeah, so
16 years, because we started into 2014.
And again, this is why this conversation's so hard. Your training boats, if you're out in the bay, are a whole different category of... But you've gone through a few of them too, haven't you? You had the Cyclone. You had
Cyclone,
no go.
no go. 10 years.
And did at least an Australian titles no go. It was a Jindabyne once, so...
Three engines later.
Beautiful. And then... Where'd you go? Did you go to the Bernico after that? You've had the Purple Force, you've had the yellow one, you've had an Atomic.
We went to the Atomic after the Cyclone,
Yeah.
and then we got the Bernico, and then we got the Purple Force.
Purple Force.
Yeah.
I can happily say I'd dipped out unless I really had to go by then. I'd had my bay fun and...
Well, the Cyclone was quite cruel on the crew. I can assure you every boat got better and better for the crew.
Oh, there's nothing like skiing first and then just the swimming race to get back into the Cyclone to see if you could get the steering wheel because no one wanted to observe.
They were fun days though.
Oh,
you'd bash around, you'd ski, you'd observe, you'd drive,
Oh, absolutely. Like some of the best years of my life. Saturday, Sunday morning, stop for a pie on the way home, and then we were straight down the river in the Radar, which quite often we picked you back up again anyway, Benny.
Yeah.
So, we'll touch on that while we're here. Social skiing.
Yeah.
Jerry, did you grow up social skiing, or do you kind of adopt it?
Adopt it later.
Yeah, okay.
Late 20s.
And then Benny obviously was skiing early. If he was thinking about racing on doubles at 5, or was that the start?
Well, you could say he grew up on the Brisbane River, so that gives you a head start if you...
Well, it's back then we didn't care about swimming in the river. Now you know what's in there. It's more incentive to get out of it. So yeah, that's because I kind of remember Pidge and I used to hit the river as hard as we can, as many times as we can, and we're at Jerry's house now and looking at the river, sort of, and it's beautiful. And we used to do a lot of laps before we realised we could pick Benny up and bring him with us. So were you doing a lot outside of us idiots picking you up and making you ski on discs? And
Yeah, we used to always do a lot of skiing.
Yeah.
A lot of tubing, a lot of skiing, kneeboarding, all sorts of stuff. And then when we met you guys, it kind of turned to disking and planking and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
We did a bit of that stuff, like planking and freeboarding, but it was all for training, never just for play.
Never for fun, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely a couple of different journeys of life through like social skiing,
Yeah.
and then you guys coming along and afterwards, and
Well, the real kicker there is probably Pidge and I not wanting to train, so we had to make it fun.
Yeah.
So
and then I learned a different type of social skiing when I went to America and skied on the Colorado River out of Parker,
Yeah.
Robert Inger. So yeah, I've definitely learnt different types of social skiing in different parts of the world and different crews.
it's funny, isn't it? Like, you think you can know it, but then it's completely different. Like, we always used to laugh when a few of the boys from North Queensland had come down. We're like, what are these idiots on? Like, why are they doing it this way? But there's always something to be learned from every experience. Like,
Or you go up to San Francisco to Mike Avela's, and next thing you're on a 45-foot ski rope, cutting
actually just cutting dollar signs, mate. Yeah.
So you learn stuff wherever you go. Everyone does it differently, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade it. All right, back on track. So, yeah, we're going to have to go one way or another here. Do we want to talk boats and then come back for Worlds? Or do we want to talk Worlds and just filter in the boats as we go?
I'll do the boats quickly, though.
All right.
The Worlds.
So, Ultra wasn't fast enough. You needed a bigger boat.
Yeah, I did say to me brother, hey, we've had a lot of fun, but my kids are sort of past what we're doing.
Yep.
I'd like to spend more time and join them, and I said to brother Don, I'm heading off into super class one way or the other, with or without a boat or just helmet and jacket.
Beautiful. And then I think Griffo had Merc-Force for not quite a year then.
Correct.
I think. And
Yes.
that's when you boys
Yeah,
took
Donnie.
that off his... Yeah.
Donnie decided.
Yeah, I just put you and Donnie as a pair, so...
Yeah. Yeah, no, Donnie decided he liked that thing.
Yeah.
Liked to take it off Noel's hand. So
Good bit of gear.
they agreed on a figure.
I don't know if you could take it back off Donnie now, could you? Like,
Eventually he sold it. It took,
I reckon he was hanging onto it with the toenails right there.
yes.
All right, so this about coincides because you must have come back when they got... Or was that the first year? Because you
I
won
come
Rombar
back.
with the 10.75, didn't you?
Yeah, I come back and I skied with Luke,
Yeah, beautiful.
and we did a season or two.
Yep.
Correct.
And
08,
then-
09.
Yeah, and at the same time, Strike Force was being built.
Yep.
And what was that? An 18-month project for you to build that one?
Yes. As much spare time as I could find. It's an 08 model. I think we got it about September 08, and its first run in a race was Sudden 80, February 2010.
All right, and then in the theme of you building cool stuff, did it need to take 18 months, or did you put stuff in it that you were like? I mean, there's so many forces out there that all, for all intents and purposes, look the same, do the same things. Strike never sort of fit the original mold, like it.
No, so it was more a takeoff engine-wise of an old Griffin engine. And that's just totally custom. You got to build every bracket, every part.
Yeah.
So there's not much that anyone else has got that you can just duplicate. You got to start again. You got to
actually. Well,
do your first engine plate and you forget a couple of things, or a couple of things crash. You do your second engine plate. You do your third engine plate. Okay, now we're right. That type of thing. Yep.
yeah, and well, that's like all your stuff is definitively your stuff. I look at stuff and go, oh, Gerry Gulley. Like for better or worse.
Yeah, I don't see it as my stuff, because development is just another phase off the last group of people who got it that
Who
far.
got it right? Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
And I like to see if I can find something else or do it my way from there.
And this was a question from who was it from? From Bisho. It was about the big strike,
Yep.
but it applies to your first one as well.
Yep.
Worth the trouble to do it the way you want and like do it a little bit different, or looking back you're like, oh, I should have just thrown a PFM motor in it and had it ready. And
Yeah, well, depends how you want to look at it. With the big girl, we were lucky that, and I knew I didn't have time to do the whole box and dice, any sort of special engine. So lucky in life that by then there was such a thing as a 1350, or we chose the 1350, 1550 package.
Yep.
So the engine part we didn't have to develop, buy it, throw it in turnkey. So that then allowed me time to play and set up dual drive and different steering.
I'd assume through Don's racing with Merckforce and then F1, you were probably looking over his shoulder giving him stuff there, or did you kind of step away and let Don do Don stuff and you concentrate on your own?
So what happened there is it got just too much to keep boats on the water and build boats and carry on. So after a few years of owning Don owning Merckforce, I found this fellow called Trent Sauer to come and give us a hand.
Yeah, beautiful.
To do some work on the boat. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone who plays up the top end would know that man's name. So that's kind of how that started, and from there, Trent did Don stuff, and that allowed me time to do the other stuff. Yeah.
All right, so we'll leave the boat soon, but Bisho's story was the effort for the 2 legs worth it? Like, it is a super cool bit of gear. I'll throw it out that Benny did most of Seattle with Merckforce F1. Did you not? Yep.
Yeah.
And then you subbed the yellow one in for the Glory race.
Yes.
France, different story. It was all the yellow one. Was it worth it? Like, Benny probably could have won behind anything.
Okay.
Maybe.
I remember one interesting comment. It was after the third day 3 of racing at Seattle.
Yep.
And the comment after the race from Ben was, "I missed the twin leg today."
Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Right. So without saying lots.
Well, I mean, that's worlds all over, isn't it? Well, that's superclass all over. You want every. Why make it harder if you don't have to?
Yeah.
And Benny, like we were talking about your training earlier, you said it's been fluid. What you did 15 years ago is certainly not what you do now or for the last Worlds, or each time we do something we get a little bit better, and we ditch a bit of stuff here and we gain a bit of stuff here. So if there's an advantage to be had, you'd be mad not to take it, obviously.
Well, how would I say? I'm taking no credit because it was Ben's idea, so it's his fault I had to spend so much time building the thing. But you obviously look and assess what other people do. So in the Worlds 05, when Ben was junior, Hunt Stanton, Randy was running around in a twin drive.
Yep.
You see him some years later, 6 drives are getting bolted on the back of everything, 1350s are getting bolted into the front. Randy brings one 10 years later to a Worlds as a spare boat, works night and day to run Todd behind the dual drive.
Yep.
Todd, I've never seen Todd run behind the single drive. They work night and day.
You're right.
To run behind the dual drive.
I can't think of it either.
No,
yeah.
And yet they have a single drive there. So that told us something.
Yeah, and those boys are right at the top, aren't they? They're as good as it gets. Like, they've been doing it for as long, if not longer.
Todd's got second place in the Worlds. He won 05, and I think ever since he's got second place to every second different Australian ski. He mustn't like us very much.
I was going to say, it's tough to keep international relations open, but he keeps us pretty honest at Catalina, I guess. So he wins more of them than we do. So.
That's his back paddock.
Yeah. Well, what Catalina boats have you had, Benny? Because you've had Sean.
So I started off with Rob Eddington.
With Rob, yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple of years with Rob. And
that was It
was a 33-foot
Scarab, yeah.
Which I thought was the
coolest
boat in the world.
Full Miami Vice with the purple checkers on the back.
Yep. And then after that, I ran with Chuck Marino.
You did go to Chuck, yeah.
Okay. Which was a 42-foot fountain. And again, still one of the nicest boats around. Then after that, I believe I went back and did one more year with Rob. I think I did another year with Rob.
Yeah.
For 1 year. And then after that, I went back to Sean with C Spot Run.
Triple legged.
Yeah, 38 foot. What do you?
I have no idea. I was just trying to think of the same thing. I was like, should have asked that
It's
before.
like a ski concept craft, one of 5 ever built.
Because there was Impaction is a bigger one, isn't it?
Same, I think.
Oh, I thought it might have been a bit bigger. But same boat,
Yeah. So it's got 3 565 Merc Cruiser motors in it with 3 Bravo legs hanging off the back. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool bit of gear.
Yes.
You've certainly ticked some boxes there.
Yep.
All right.
And talking about Catalina, it was interesting because the first year when I got 5th outright.
Oh, and you used this one. You used Strike F1.
Oh yes, we did. In 2017. We used Strike.
Almost worked perfectly, didn't it?
It was we had a absolute ball.
Yeah.
Because the little boats run first, so we were lucky enough to get line honours.
Oh, you did get it. Did you have?
We didn't get outright.
Yeah.
We got second outright to all the 42 footers.
Yes.
But we took line honours, but not outright.
I think someone commented that hasn't been done since 1980 odds.
No, yeah.
A little boat got second outright.
But did you had not engine issues so much, but clearing code issues?
Yeah, the prop spent that much time out of the water to go into default.
Yeah, okay.
You'd have to sink it in the water.
Yep.
Turn it off, refire, go again. So
Would that have made the difference for outright? No.
wrong year.
Wrong year.
We were
Yeah.
praying for some smooth water so we could sit on some real good pace, but we couldn't.
Didn't come.
As good as that thing is, she spends a fair bit of time out of the water when you're climbing through big swells. She
Doesn't
just
matter how
can't.
heavy they are. If she's a big wave, you got to come off the other side of it.
Earlier that week, we had some pretty good training runs that we were pretty happy with.
Yeah.
I remember I'd never been hit with golf balls so hard. I remember my front arm and shoulder was black and blue for a week.
Oh, I'm only laughing because it's not me. But yes, I can imagine that. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like skiing social on a lap boat, except probably twice as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. That's unreal. All right, so we better go back. Well, again, too much stuff, Benny. Well, why don't we stick with outrights? Because we'll come back to World.
Let's stick with Catalina because we're there.
Yeah.
So
you want to talk about when you won? Because that was cool.
Yeah, but even leading up, I sort of got a 4th outright, then I got a 3rd, then I got a 2nd, and then I got 2nd with the twin drive.
With the yellow one, yeah.
And then the following year, I got an outright. I got the win.
Like it reads, like you just said there, it reads as just pure progression, just chip.
Every year I went there with something else to try and do, and a different tactic and different everything, and we just pulled it off in the end.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can't remember it. Was it close? The one you won?
Oh, very close.
It was up there with Wayne's one, wasn't it? Like it was.
Yeah, it was like photo finish style.
Yeah.
I was lucky the line wasn't another 50 or 100 metres further down the track, Nick.
Poor C-spot run. Just working.
We had it tapped.
But then, and that was Todd.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. And then, was it 2 years before that, him and Wayne had the same one where it was basically photo finish? So, I mean, at least
Peter Proctor before that, time and time again, it was a drag race to the end.
It's really been a sort of a battle between anyone skiing behind Avla and Randy Davis. It's kind of been the Avla and Randy Davis show.
Yeah, and it's a bit to be said for home ground advantage, isn't there? Or local knowledge, definitely.
Yeah, they definitely have the best knowledge there. They definitely have good race plans. And they also have very good boats and gear.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'll say best because I'm not qualified to say it, but they certainly look like they've got 2 of the best bits of kit going around, yeah.
Well, Avla's boat, he says it weighs 23 tonne. It's got 3 1,200 horsepower big blocks with 3 6 drives hanging off the back. Yeah. And it's a 47-foot boat cut down.
Because the Nordics are cut down one now too, isn't it?
It's a 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with a step, so it's legal.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 1350s with 2 6 drives.
Yeah, right.
And
Catalina's getting quicker every year, which doesn't seem to make sense because surely we're getting to a point, yeah, and then you could have it, but it still hasn't seemed to be. I know you get that one perfect year and it'll be ballistic, but is that just skier progression still?
Yeah,
or
there
boat,
was a couple
or team,
of, it's skier progression, and then there was a couple of years with good water conditions. Yeah, I do think the year that Jake Teggett won and got the record, that will be a very, very difficult record to beat. It can be beaten, but the conditions have to be optimal, and those days are very few and far between.
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't skied out there too many days that you go, yeah, this record could get broken on that day. So it's all condition based, and it's unlikely that the conditions are going to be that good on race day.
Training runs always feel good, but then you add the extra 70 big boats and
it's a different ball.
Makes it difficult.
So that was cool. Catalina.
So where did winning Catalina rank for you? Like, is that up there as one of the better ones, or are they all just individual races now that...
They're all individual, but I really like the experience of Catalina, because it's not just the race for me. It's the people and the friends and the atmosphere.
100%, yeah.
You know, good mates of ours, Rob Ettinger, you know, his hospitality is unbelievable.
I mean, if you have to sneak out to Parker for some days on the river, I mean, gee, Benny, if that's part of it.
So Catalina was never just a race, you know, after the first year or two. It was always the whole experience. It was, you know, middle of the year, escape winter and just have an absolute blast. Go ski behind 40-foot boats out in the ocean, you know, go out to Parker and ski behind some pretty cool gear, you know, hanging out at the bars on the Colorado River, watch everyone do hot laps up and down in front of the bars all day, and it's just something else.
It's different, isn't it? It is different. Yeah.
So Catalina to me wasn't just the race; it was the whole experience of going over each year.
Yeah, beautiful. What? Back to you, Jerry. Watching Benny do that stuff. What? Obviously, when you guys together as a team, it brings that extra element. Are you just as happy to watch him do it behind someone else, or do you get a bit funny watching, i.e., it's out of your hands kind of thing?
No, that I was up in a helicopter the day one. That was so exciting.
That's cool.
Look, I've always said, and if you look through the days, I never drove F2 for Ben because there was a better person than me to do that. To do that job. So, no, I've always been one to help support Ben as best I see it or he sees it.
Well, and it's the same thing. That's I'd look back and I go, all right, so the last last 2 worlds you've been Ben's team, his driver. Undefeated, I might add, over 2 worlds. But before that, it's not like you weren't there. Like, you were there in a support capacity. You were there...
You'd might as well call me through his F2 stuff, and especially like 15. I was the team captain.
Yeah, 100%. So
I made sure the gear was right. I just did everything else possible to make sure every person in that team was as good as they could be.
Was doing the best they could at the time,
on the day, or give them the equipment or the tools to try and bring that off. Yep.
All right, so let's roll it back. 3rd in juniors.
Yeah.
At Hunstanton.
Yes.
New Zealand. You won the first race in F2.
Yes.
So you weren't a junior at New Zealand?
No, I was 17.
You were 17, okay.
So I was, I missed out by about 7 months.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Was that Troy or was it Waldo?
Troy.
No, Stouty had Waldo, didn't he?
Yeah. So I skied behind Troy Kennedy behind 19-foot force at the time called Gulf Western Racing.
Yep.
A very fast boat. Very quick in any conditions. Was a little loose at times, but that rope always stayed tight.
Hey, it's all that matters. You got to get there at the end.
Yeah.
So first race, you streeted them. Like, you were minutes ahead, weren't you? Or
potentially, yeah.
It felt like it. Like, you were a long way. Yeah. It wasn't close.
Yeah.
But did you hurt your leg in the first one?
Yeah, I tore my quad. So I had pretty much a 4 by 7 centimetre tear in my left quad.
That'll do it. Yeah.
You know, at the time, the doctors were telling me I couldn't race, and I was still determined to try and race.
Yep.
And by
They were right.
Yeah,
they,
it turns out.
they were definitely
All
right.
those years of medical school.
They were definitely right. So that injury took a long time for me to get over, and at times it still comes back and flares up.
Yeah, okay. So you didn't finish the race and then go, oh, my leg. How far through that first race before you went, hang on, this...
I can't remember. I do remember, I think it started fairly early on.
Yep.
But I do know the last 15 minutes of that race was pretty tough, but I was determined back then and didn't give up and
resilience and push on, yeah. But my point was, could you have gone, oh, this doesn't feel right, stopped, minimised?
Well, with my
matter?
knowledge now
Yeah.
and experience of injuries and training and all that, yeah, I probably would have stopped.
Yep.
But back then, if I was sore somewhere, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
There was only one goal, and that was to cross that finish line as quick as possible, no matter how much you were hurting.
100%, yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's right. Hey, and like you say, you can't do anything about what's happened in the past. Hindsight's wonderful, but doesn't come with any guarantees. Next World was Belgium. Did you not go because your leg was still busted? Or did you, back then, you didn't have to be at every World?
Glandular fever.
Yeah, I got quite sick, but that was in 2000, end of 2007, I reckon, going on 2008. And then you had the quad thing and didn't sort of focus on training as much.
Yep.
And we went and tried for the selections, and I think I might have qualified 5th or 4th or something, but yeah, never went over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, hey, you can miss one in 15 years, can't you? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not too bad. I was over there, it sucked. I mean, it would have been awesome to ski in, but it did not feel good in the boat. I'm trying to piece together where your superclass and stuff linked up with all that, because you did a year with Merckforce, or 2 years with Merckforce.
So I did Wildfire first.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I did Merckforce.
That was picked up first out, right?
Yeah. And then that turned into Strikeforce.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah. And then, not quite sure what happened, but I know 2011 was the Worlds at Redcliffe.
Yep.
Which I qualified third for Australia. And I got injured again in the first race.
Yep.
I got a tear in my patella tendon. So that ended my racing career there, or race day there for the season. And it took 12 plus months to come right.
To come back, yeah.
So whilst that injury was on, I couldn't ski superclass. And yeah, I don't know what I did for that period of time. I think I might have had most of that off.
Mine, yeah.
For a year or two, maybe.
Well, obviously you've got back for Spain.
Yes.
How did you come about teaming up with 99 Psycho Clowns?
I skied with Danny at Green Island for up
Awesome
in Cairns.
video. Look it up if you're listening at home.
Yeah, and I skied at Kanahooka, and I skied a couple of times for him behind his F2 boat, 99 Psycho Clowns, and it just came about. You know what Danny is.
I
He's
do
so
know
passionate
exactly what
about
he's like.
racing,
Yes.
and at the time he wanted to win everything and conquer everything, and he got Wayne Moore.
Well, to say just quietly, those
For
Spain
F1.
Worlds, he did win everything, didn't he? He won F2 women's, and his team, 99 Psycho Clowns, won F2 men's, F1 women's, and F1 men's, I think.
Yeah, Sarah Chilo got F2 women's.
Yeah.
Skiing behind Napic, Danny
Yes.
Napic.
Oh, he was out of boats, to be fair.
Yeah, and I know he towed juniors around too, but his boats were in every race
Yeah.
over there. Yeah. And that Worlds was probably one of the hardest Worlds.
Conditions or...
I loved the conditions, but I physically wasn't strong or fit enough for those Worlds.
And is that on the back of injury and...
No, it just... I must have just got my training wrong, Mick.
Yeah, okay.
I was doing plenty of training, but I just mustn't have been doing the right training.
Well, and it's funny, we were at an event the other day together, and you were talking about how your training adapts, and like you had really good people in your corner at the start, and you got really good people in your corner now. Has it flowed from one to the other? Like I know it's that you're learning every time, but has there been points where you've gone, oh, actually, that was definitely not what I needed to be doing? Or
I think that Worlds was probably the first Worlds I went, this ain't working.
okay, yep, and that was
And
tried and true, 1,000 laps in the bay plus.
well, we didn't do a lot of on-water skiing that Worlds.
Okay, yep.
For that. I think we left all for like the last 3 months and did a lot of on-water and thought I'd get strong and fit and be able to
It'll all come
do it.
back to you. Yep.
And it didn't work. And I remember after the first day, my legs were ridiculously sore. And I remember walking down the jetty to the second race, the second round, and my legs were collapsing before I even hopped on the ski. Most people didn't know this, but I was in a world of pain at those Worlds. And the same thing for the third round and the same for the fourth round.
What you won? What were the results? Did you win every race?
I think it was a second, first.
Okay, yeah. So it was same guy in second.
Yeah, so Jake Teggett.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yep. I don't know all the times, but I know that last race we had to win by. Yep. Do you remember how many seconds?
About 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'd and Wayne. This was the time of the conception of the CS6 skis.
Yes.
So Wayne had a spare ski over, and after the third race, and after Wayne had won and secured his F1 title, we purchased his spare CS6 ski that he had there for his backup.
Yep.
So
Because he wouldn't need it in the fourth if it all went pear-shaped.
Yep. So we put on some boots onto it, and I went out in the ocean, and I was like, oh, just take me up to 40, 45 mile an hour, and then the next lap we'll do 50, 55. Well, the crew had other plans, right? Because they go on, if he's going to ski on this ski tomorrow, he needs to ski full pace from the get-go. So they just got up and held it pinned up the front straight. And
was that Phil and Rick Love?
Phil and
Brett Armstrong.
Phil and Brett Armstrong.
So we go out training run, and they just take off like a cut snake, and we do one lap, maybe 2 laps at the most, and I just pat my head and go stop, and the ski was just unreal out in the ocean.
It's just beautiful. Yeah.
I'd never had a ski that I could pick up and put on top of a wave.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Normally, when you're in the ocean and you're traveling through the water and your knees are coming up to your chest, when you're in the air and you're trying to get on top of a wave and you pick your ski up, your chest comes down and bashing your knees before you even hit that wave. For the first time, I could pick it up
bring your knees up without bringing your chest down.
Yes, and it was a bit of a game changer over there in those conditions.
Yeah.
So in race 4, we just went out like Mach 1, and I think on lap 3, it was fairly swelly, rough conditions. Our boat tripped on a wave and nosedived and disappeared underwater and come up doing 20 mile an hour full of water.
Yep.
Right, so I had that much slack rope, boat pretty much stopped. And they had to turn around and come pick me up. And I had to win this day by 15 seconds, and we're in lap 3.
30 seconds up in lap 3 when it went down.
And I remember my legs were still collapsing that day walking down to the jetty to put the ski on. So things weren't
just
going
what you
my
needed,
way.
mate. Just what you needed.
Right, but determined, right? They come pick me up and got going. And for the next 3 laps, I was waving up. They couldn't drive the boat fast enough because it was full of water. They couldn't control the thing.
Oh, yeah, righto. Yep.
Right? And every lap, they got more water out, and we just kept going faster,
just faster and
faster. And I reckon it was about the 55 minute mark, we pulled up side by side with Jake Teggett. So then we were battling for the lead. And I can't remember how long we battled for, but I reckon it was the second last lap. We were going out to the sort of, say, the start-finish sort of area.
Yep.
And Jake had a trip up on a wave and went in. So all I had to do was get home.
Just get home from there, yeah.
And I remember they slowed right off, they backed right off, and we were doing probably 40, 45 mile an hour. But it was more challenging.
It was harder, yeah.
Because the waves and the conditions were so big, I was falling into every hole.
Yeah.
It was the hardest 2 laps
Yeah.
of the comp. So, yeah, that was...
Well, even it's hard for concentration too to button off. Like, you sort of relax and there's not a lot of room for that, is there?
Yeah.
So that was dead set. You'd done 10K on that ski and just went, yeah, this is what I need for the world.
Not even, yeah.
Unbelievable. We'll bring it up because I know that CS6s were really, what's the word, divisive? I don't know. People love to hate them.
You either love it or you hate it with CS6s. There's no in between, is there?
Well, I'm in between. I rode one and I fully understand why they work. But what's the saying? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm too old and don't care enough to be changing how I ski. Because to me, you need a really central kind of stance. Do you think? Like Wayne and you are like peak CS6. You're always balanced. Like I'd probably hang back a bit much. I found it wanted to sort of get away from me, and I like physically. Same again. I rode on for 20 minutes, and I was like, I brought myself forward, and I went, okay, this, I get it now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But was it just people wanted to hate it because it was something different, or did they think it was unfair?
I think it got a bad rap early on because there was a couple of falls on them.
Yep.
On their early days, and it really brought them unstuck, I reckon.
But I mean, and that always struck me as a bit odd because the amount of people that fall off Mahas and DCs is everybody else in racing. Like
all I can say is you do ski on them differently.
Yeah.
So unless you went and learnt that difference before you stepped on one and gone, let's go race 100 plus mile an hour or whatever.
Unless you're Ben Gulley, who picks one up for the worlds, and
well, Ben did that day what he advises everyone never to do, but.
But same again, that's what I mean. Like Ben's style seems to suit it.
My style suited that ski.
Yeah.
And those conditions were different. It's ocean racing.
Yep.
And I needed a lighter ski.
Yeah, 100%.
And it did everything I needed it to do.
Now, do you own every CS6 in existence? Like, are there any left anywhere? I know that
I'd rather not discuss that, Nico.
you cannot get one off Ben Gulley. Keep that. Don't bother ringing. No, I know they're hot commodity, and I did know there were a few stash, but not necessarily here. So let's just move on. Well put. New Zealand.
Yes.
You won F2 in Spain.
Yes.
Why'd you run F2 again? Because you could? Because you had the resources and the... Or
Look, I
was there
wasn't going to, but for some reason last minute, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks before a selection race, and we chucked a team together, which was Justin Pick, Glenn Campbell and myself.
Yep.
And Glenn was building a boat, so he put it together, found a motor, put it all together, and we rock up to Mugra, reigning F2 world champion, and I think we got 2 DNFs and got, absolutely annihilated.
Solid start, yes.
Yeah.
Was that wasn't the Bernico?
No.
That was the fill-in boat. Yeah, that was a Chaos.
Triple X.
Triple X, yep.
So we had some boat problems and other bits and problems on the weekend, and we went away, and at that time, I think it was called Still Kidding. The Stouts Bernico was for sale, and Dad picked up the Bernico.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it become Strike F2.
Yep.
Yeah.
You pedal that a bit, have you? Or do you
Yeah.
farm a lot of that? Did you find it different to drive to everything else?
Much better in the rust.
Much better. I haven't sat in the wheel one for long, but I just went, this isn't much like the CS6 probably. I got in it and went, I know how to drive a boat. Hang on, this isn't it. Like, was there a learning curve on it? Or you picked it up pretty quick?
No, once you understand where to put the trim and mainly play with your tabs.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. They're just, it's like understanding your balance point on a CX6 and off you go. Big water. They just love tracking through big water.
Best ocean and rough water boat out there.
And New Zealand, was wild. Wasn't it? Like they weren't all big, but
No,
there was some big days there, wasn't there?
it wasn't too bad. There was one big day.
Last day, we
Yeah.
got to play. We went to
Beautiful.
play, but
Did you ski that entire lap with that flag up?
Absolutely, Mika.
Absolutely. Hand didn't go onto the handle?
So we'd gone then. We'd won the first 3 races.
Done. In the bag.
Right, in
Beautiful.
the bag. So we'd already wrapped up the championship, and I wanted to do something with the flag. And I know at the time the whole team was against it. So I went to the back of the tent and found this Australian flag on a little pole, a plastic pole, and I got ankle tape, and I just ankle taped it to my handles. Right, I made like a cocoon that it went inside. with some duct
100%
tape.
reasonable thing to do.
Yep. So pretty much coming around to the last lap, I when the blue flag come out, I just undid the ankle tape off my handles and brought this flag out
Up
and
it
just
goes.
carried it around. And yes, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Skiing one-handed
Yeah.
probably wasn't the smartest thing to do that day, but
I've seen you do it in the bay, the old ski with the front hand off the handle. So
yeah, I'm a fan of training like that.
it was all prep. It was all prep. No, it's super impressive.
Yeah. So undefeated with four back-to-back races there for that world.
All right. So you've gone 12 in a row World races.
Well,
13 because you got the
13.
last one at Spain.
13 undefeated world title races.
Right. Jeez, Benny. Way to make everyone feel terrible. All right. So back-to-back F2. You've ticked that box.
Yep.
Seattle. Gerry was back in. Did you guys make that decision to race together, like as a team, or
well, what I say to Ben is, look, I'll back you as best I can. But you tell me if you think there's a better driver or what we need to do.
yeah,
I'm here to listen. I'm your support crew. I am the team leader, but the way it unfolds,
Yeah.
I need your support. You need to have your full opinion about everything.
well, and it's a really special thing, but in history, father-son teams don't always work like they should. There's that, I don't know, the clash or I know he can do it, I'm going to push him harder than he wants and stuff like that. Was JP the person that got in the middle and sorted that, or did you not even have those clashes?
No, JP did a brilliant job sitting in the middle of it all. But no, we just do a lot of training. We obviously do our selections. There really is just one focus. Go and do a race, go and do training, talk about what you can improve, right? The only option on the team that we couldn't get rid of, that we weren't allowed to get rid of, was Ben Gulley. Everything else was an option.
Everything else was
And we just
interchangeable?
needed to keep going and make it as good as we can. Nothing else was really locked and loaded.
But going back to the comment that you said, that people push each other and,
Yeah.
son teams, I think our team has so much trust. Like, there's never been a time that I've given a down or the water conditions have changed that the pace hasn't changed and been reflective of it.
Beautiful, yeah.
So our team over time have built up that much trust. You can ski to your limit and have confidence if the water changes or if something happens, or if I need it down, that I'm going to have an instant,
As quick as it can be done.
quick as it can be done,
Yep.
it will get done, guaranteed 100% every single time. And I really think that's one good thing our team has.
Yeah, well, and
Really good communication, because we talk after training, we talk after races, we keep just improving things, but the trust our team has is second to
well,
none.
and that's it, isn't it? Like that's allows everyone in the team to perform to their maximum capabilities. Right?
Yeah.
And I know with Wayne, like I think he said in his podcast, but even talking to him and being there on the way, same thing. And he said with Dan a few times, this is what we want to achieve. I trust you to put me in that spot, and I trust you to control. So you do what you need to do, and I'll do what I need to do. And in my experience, you can't do that everywhere. Like it should be with standard, but I don't think it is.
If your skiing ability is good enough, you're fit enough, and you have the right team, it's possible.
Yeah, well, I'm two strikes out of 3 there, Benny. So, yeah, it's probably why it doesn't work my way, but that's cool. Yeah, but that's amazing. That's cool. So, Seattle, you get to use the big yellow girl for the last time.
Correct.
Could you have used it earlier?
A mercury part played us up. Well, 2 things went wrong. We had some oil temp issues going on with our splitter transfer that drive the 2 legs.
Yep.
We got that sorted out. Had to get a part across from the other side of America, and when we got that sorted out, and we were took it out to run it for race 3, the thing had a communication problem between Simrad and Mercury.
Yeah, okay.
It has a translator in the middle. That thing played up, and that took us out of the next race. So I worked very hard over there to use it for one race.
Yes, because that sounds like it was an absolute mission, but that was cool.
The trusty Merc-Force was a backup boat, not a bad backup.
It's not a bad gig because he won Donny won F1 Women's that year too, so it was both boat. That's pretty cool.
Which was 10 years after the first
Merc-Force
won back to back.
and Jace.
Jason Walmsley.
Yes.
That's actually very cool. That is very cool. Wow, yeah. That's cool. All right, cool. You went to Seattle. Were you number 1 qualifier?
Yeah.
I don't think we lost the selection race either.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I thought, but I don't know. So just checking. So you went there and it basically just played out exactly like you wanted, or were the races a bit...
No, it played out fairly well.
Yep.
Our game plan is we're more strategic. A lot of people just go out hard from the start and they don't have well executed game plans. And we had a game plan and we were able to execute it pretty much every race.
Yeah, beautiful. And from what I saw, you sort of ran your race, and then say Cody and Todd were caught up, kind of racing each other more so. They sort of let you do your thing and they sort of took care of each other.
Look, Gruts would always go out hard.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So we never really led a race in Seattle in the first 30 to 40 minutes, did we?
Not sure about that, but certainly early piece, no.
At
we
least
never
the
led.
first 20 minutes we never really led.
By choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You only got to be winning when the checkered flag comes out.
Fastest average wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kept them inside.
Yeah.
We did what we needed to do.
Well, and like Todd's awesome for that. Like his racing always seems to be stick with, follow, and he always seems to be able to pull out and come around when time like Belgium, Spain. You'd watch him and he'd just out he'd go and you'd be like, where was that?
We had a saying, never let Todd be on our backside late in the race.
100%.
That was not allowable.
So you really concentrated on that 30 to 50 minute window. Like you had a very specific spot you wanted to be in that area, or just kind of played the way it played.
The first 10 minutes can lose you the race.
Yep.
Because you hit the wall and you're done.
Yep.
You're fatigued. If you burn strength, energy, or fatigue in the first 10 minutes, your race is done. And it's so easy to get carried away, full of adrenaline.
Yeah, 100%.
So the first 10 minutes is never our race. And our race is once the race settles down and you get comfortable and, it's sort of, you just find the right time. As soon as it suits you, you always stay in your comfort zone. Always racing, never 10/10ths. And when the time's right, you go.
I'll just circle back to that never 10/10 thing. Like I love that as a concept because I don't know if lazy's the right word, but I'm very lazy skier. I don't like to be hanging on. And I mean, it's less relevant now because I'm not competitive, but I was kind of competitive back in the point, but I was very certain that I didn't want to be on the edge.
There's times to do it.
Yeah, I never found it. But that's probably why you're far more successful.
There are times to do it, but I reckon that the time's never in the first half of any race.
Yep.
Maybe a blitz that's 4 or 5 minutes long, it's got to be 10/10ths. But if a race is an hour, no one can ski 10/10ths for an hour.
Do you think you obviously have a really solid understanding of your body, its capabilities, its limits. You're confident with your training. You've got a plan. Do you think that helps? Like, does it bring the race to you as opposed to you going to the race?
I think the experience does, yeah.
Yep.
And my race plan doesn't change too much depending what other people are up to.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think that the most consistent skiers out there are very calm and collective, and the skiers that are hot one day, cold the other, get very emotional, and their race plans change rapidly.
Yeah, throw stuff out the window. I'm behind. I've got to go.
So I think that no matter, you've got to forget what everyone else is up to, and you've got to run your race according to your plan, and not let other people affect that plan. And there's times you have to alter it, but it's still roughly in line with the original plan.
Yeah.
Things might change 5 minutes early or 5 minutes later, or
But
you might
no
have
massive deviations.
no massive deviations. You run the race to how you want to run the race.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, cool. So 2 F2s and an F1, and you decide to go back again to France?
Yes.
Again, because you could? Because you wanted to go back to back? Because, I mean, it's got a really nice ring to it to go F2, F2, F1, F1, but...
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I had the passion, I still wanted to pursue
beautiful.
it. Yeah.
Jerry was still keen, obviously.
Bit scared about that canal stuff over there, but apart from that, yeah.
Hey, from what I saw, it worked very, very well.
Well, I knew the turning capabilities of a dual drive, but even so, not ever turned a boat at big paces in a narrow area before. So,
was it as hectic, like, as it looked? Like every corner, ever?
oh yes, absolutely.
I reckon it was worse than it looked at times.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I haven't been to France. I've been in the Belgian canals, and I know that gets pretty wide. France seems like it's a little bit wider, so it gives more boats an opportunity to be in the same place at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where, like, Belgium, you normally go, oh, there's 2 boats in there, I'm going to leave them be. Where France seemed to be, we'll fit 3 or 4 in there, yeah.
Yep.
Scary? Out the back?
I reckon it'd be more scary as a driver, because I just follow the boat, Mick.
Let's go, yeah. Hey, you can watch the accident happen in front of you.
Yeah.
Jerry, scary?
Oh yeah, just intense because you obviously don't want to run anyone over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So you come out of that bottom hole. I can remember. I'm way back across past the middle. There's just
avoiding
people
people
down. There's boats everywhere, and I've got Justin up my ribs because I'm pushing Randy Davis nearly to the other side wall.
It was neither of you boys. I saw a video of the outboards, and one outboard was yelling at the outboard that was infringing on them, but there was someone a metre from them in the water, and you're just like...
Yeah.
Did you find, like, you wear your watch and track all your stuff when you're driving? Or
Yeah.
could you track differences between, say, a Seattle world? Like, is that hypervigilance hard on you?
No, we're always pretty lucky. We were solid in knowing where we were. So
Yeah, okay.
that side of it was always pretty well read and understood between Justin and myself. So
and that's, by the time you get there, JP was New Zealand. He wasn't Spain, was he?
Not Spain.
So this is his 3rd campaign with you.
Yes.
2nd with you guys as a full team. So you're pretty dialed.
Yep.
Because that throwing selection, throwing training.
correct.
So that you just had that confidence that everyone was doing their job, whether it was Justin keeping people where they needed to be and...
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. You didn't have to worry whether he was doing all of his job. You knew he was doing
That's
his
what
job.
he was there for.
Yes.
Did it ever get angry, or was there tension? Or I know that kind of stuff, it's easy. Like, I've seen a bit in Belgium where, and again, no one's real fault, but you just find yourself in that hyper situation and people react, but...
Very, very rare.
Yeah, beautiful.
We'd just get upset if we didn't clearly understand what the other person was telling each other.
Yeah.
And we made a point of making something change next time so we would understand that. Yeah.
Well, and that's all you can do. Like it's hard. You're still running your own races, but you've all got to be there together, don't you? Like coming out the other end's obviously more important than
Yes.
something else. Douglas Perry,
Yes.
You would know him from observing in your Robinvale outright victory as
Correct.
a team with Strike Force.
Correct.
While we're on that, I was trying to work it out. Is that 4 for you? You had Merc Force, Strike Force. You had 1 or 2 with Sapphire.
That's three outright wins
Okay.
at Robinvale.
2 or 3. Oh,
You won
three.
Mildura,
There's
though,
three.
didn't
Oh,
you?
yes. Yeah, I've won Mildura. I think of BHAG too. Yeah.
Sydney won up.
Yeah.
Well, that was as a team too. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Strike Force back in the day.
Dad's
So-
getting it done.
So there's
Yep.
been a few outrights at River Race
Yeah, beautiful.
along the journey.
Again, just,
Over a 10-year period,
yeah, but you didn't.
11-year period.
Like, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but you weren't actively seeking to win outrights, were you? Or was it just a byproduct? Like, to me, you
you
didn't
mean at
seem like you
Longvale?
were really, like,
I can answer that. Ben's main focus has been Worlds,
yeah,
and that's what he's kept his main focus on. The Rivers is to do if it all gelled together,
Yep.
and if it didn't, it just fit in where he fitted in through
Yeah.
that period. But
Yeah, beautiful.
Worlds was the focus.
and you
Yep.
see people with varying ones, and like Ziggy does everything. Like he was 100% on both, so it's interesting to weigh it up. Like, do you think he could have or would have wanted to have had that really? I want to win everything in the Rivers here. I want to win everything in the world.
I've never been that. I enjoy racing and outrights are cool, but I've never been super hungry for outrights like I have world titles
Yep.
or Catalinas or other type of races.
Yeah.
So, and where your passion lies is where you do the best
Well, yeah.
work.
I was going to say it's the fact that you managed to have jagged more than a handful, despite it not being is a priority, so to speak, is a pretty solid
Yeah.
result there. Yeah.
And most of my best results have always been leading into Worlds or after Worlds.
Yeah.
Because the Worlds brings the fitness to do the Rivers.
Do you have definitive peaks and troughs? Like, do you? I know Christopher Stout was big on. He was 2 different body sizes or shapes. Sorry, Chris, if you're listening. Coming into the Worlds, or maybe on the year after the Worlds.
There was a stage where I thought that you had to, and I would agree, you do kind of have to have 2 different strength and fitness elements for Rivers compared to Worlds. But later on, because it wasn't like a super passion, it's not like I wanted to train.
Yeah.
Change. Wasn't my desire to win Rivers wasn't a big enough desire to change my training to suit
To
the
suit the Rivers, yeah.
So yeah, I would agree that you should change your training if you're doing Rivers. But
Well, and it's hard when you're still doing pretty well to go, well,
Yeah.
I'm just happy with this, so why go to the effort?
yeah. And at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy your training, you're not going to do it.
Yep. We hijacked that. Yeah, Douglas wanted to talk about the first corner. Was that first race?
So, the second race. You're talking France.
Yes, I'm back. We're back to France.
Talking France.
Second race, first corner.
All right. So again, wasn't there. Seen the video, and there's been some photos come up on the on rope page. The story I've been told is Ben just said, "Whatever you can do, Gerry, I can do." Is that about it?
100%. I was told after race 1, I was being as careful as I could coming into the corners.
Yeah.
And basically Ben said, look, it's costing us too much. You're trying to be safe and kick me out wide off the corner. If you need to come in tight on that corner, and if you can make it round, I'll follow. So he just gave me all the confidence in the world. And
How close to 10 was that boat going through that corner? It looked impressive, but then you couldn't really see the boat under the 4,000 cubic litres of water you dispersed. So
I don't think I'd like to try
Okay.
it again on purpose.
yeah,
But
beautiful.
that was.
Well, same question to you, Benny. Was there any point in that corner when you went, "Wish I hadn't have said that"?
I reckon I was too busy to even have a think about that, Nico.
No time to worry. We're hanging on.
Because my recollection is, I don't think Dad backed off one bit
Yep.
until he hit that corner, right? And even through it until he exited, sort of backed off. But I remember going into it, and I still had, I reckon, 50 plus foot of rope behind me. And the rope length, our rope length was only 200 foot.
I was going to say, you didn't have a lot of rope.
Because
no.
I remember looking at a photo, my hands up above my head, and you can't even see the rope behind me. It's that far behind me still. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'll take your mind off things. Yeah.
Yeah, but I always said, if you make it around the corner, I will, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
We took advantage of the smooth water and
100%.
did a quick one.
It's a very long bow, but I'd like to think some disc whip training behind the Raider down the river might have helped with that, because we were pretty good at just dipping her in pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's cool. Doug, I also want to talk about the save you had. I don't know what race that was either.
Oh, that was race 1.
That was race 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I, as you know, I was ski fairly crouched up.
Yep.
And
I can't do it. Don't have the quads.
that bottom corner had, I don't know, massive waves is probably an understatement. Right? They're as high as me in places, I'm sure. And I just hit this one wave, and my knees hit my chest that hard, it sent me off the back of the ski. Literally.
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't know how I saved it, but I remember I was like, I've fallen off. Like, I'm over the back of my ski.
Yeah.
I've let go, and then I was like, no, I can't just let go. So I've gone and grabbed the handles again, and I grabbed them with two fingers. I think I only had 2 fingers, and landed, and somehow, leaned forwards and skied away from it. And skied away from it.
That's
somehow.
unreal.
I don't know how. I half think that the rope, when I grabbed the rope, it half pulled me back over the top of my ski, I think. But I can't recall.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I've seen Grant Turner with one of the 8 litres blow up, throw the handles, and then as they've come back, pick them back up and follow the boat in, but it certainly wasn't mid-worlds. And I know Wayne talks about, he had a big one in Belgium where he says about the same thing, bounced himself off and went,
He was gone.
Yeah, we're done, and then just went, no, I refuse to be gone. So that's
It's just that determination never to give up.
Yeah.
No matter how bad circumstances are, you just don't give up.
well, and then like that probably highlights it. But it's amazing the situations you can get yourself out of sometimes. Like you say, for all money, you're like, they're done. But there's no way they come back from that. But bit of grit, bit of ability, boom. Super impressive. And there we go. That was the end of 13 undefeated worlds races. I don't think is there 21 worlds.
No, it's not happening.
If there's a 22 worlds,
Not happening.
not happening. Oh, Benny, look at you getting old and sensible.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the last Worlds, 19 Worlds. It was Australia Day, and what do you do on Australia Day?
Well, I did see some very solid renditions of the anthem.
You have slip and slides.
Oh, I forgot you busted yourself before
So
that.
I busted my ankle
Beautiful.
and had to have a syndesmosis ankle reconstruction. And I still got a plate and a wire, 2 plates and a wire in my ankle holding it together. And that was exactly 9 months from the Worlds. And I remember all the doctors telling me that it would take 9 months to recover from this operation.
That's not going to work, docs. That's not going to work. So you obviously had, how long did you have off training? Until the Worlds, or did you get back?
No, so it took 2 weeks for them to do all the scans, to book the surgery in, let the swelling go down and do the surgery. And they put two pins in my ankle to start with, which at 10 weeks they pulled them out. So at 10 weeks after that, my recovery started, which probably would have been around this time of the year.
Yeah.
Up until then, I'd been pretty much in a moon boot and not able to put any pressure on my leg.
Including at your wedding, Benny?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't even see it in the photos, mate.
And I remember I'd never experienced anything so painful. Just the slightest pressure on your foot was just agony. And I reckon it was probably about 6 to 8 weeks after I started to be able to do some form of training, we went to the Queensland titles. And I'd only just put a ski on like a week or two before the titles, and I couldn't ski at all.
Yeah.
And it was June.
As a collective, how concerned were we at this point? Or had you morphed from that we're in trouble to it's not going to happen?
Well, this is the beginning of June. We go to the Queensland titles. We get
can't do it.
100 and bit out of him down the first straight, and we just go backwards every lap after that until the whole field cleans us up. And we've got to make a decision towards the end of the next month whether we're lock and loaded and putting a boat in the container.
It was 2 or 3 weeks from the Queensland. I thought it was.
I think Queensland titles is normally like early June.
Yeah.
I thought we sent the boat. I could be wrong, but there wasn't a lot of time, and a Catalina in between, which I thought he was mad packing his
to go.
gear over to Catalina, and I kind of go, this kid can hardly ski.
I know you guys are prone to, one would say overthinking, but maybe just thinking enough, depending. So, no doubt, plenty of sleepless nights there trying to.
I had me reserves, but as you do with Ben, and I asked him the question. He said, "Let's send it." I've gone, well,
Is what it
that's
is.
the only way
Let's
we're going
go.
to find out.
Yeah.
And I also said to him, mate, if this is a total failure, I'm taking that out of your inheritance. So I just didn't think it was fair on his brother and sister to enter such financial stuff, doing that sort of stuff, and him not being in a reasonable shape to have a go. But yes.
I probably didn't actually realise, it was probably only about a week before I got on the plane to go over to Europe that I knew my ankle had a reasonable chance of getting through the comp.
That was my next question. What percentage would you have given yourself in terms of operation? Wasn't 100% clearly when you ran those worlds? 80? Not quite?
Had to have been at least 80 or 90.
Your right foot?
Yeah.
So that's your front foot?
Front foot.
Okay, yeah.
Which saved me.
I was going to say probably the best of
because it's reduced my flexibility, but I think what saved me was, and why my ankles recovered so well, is because the amount of rehab and flexibility and strength work I had to do into it leading up to the Worlds.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until probably 1 week out that I even knew it would handle the job. Like, I remember hopping on the plane, and I remember like every 2 or 3 hours on the plane, even getting up and just doing stretches in the hallway and this and that, just trying to keep that range, because it just kept disappearing as soon as you stopped. And without the range, it wouldn't handle any impact. So,
were you trying to keep that under wraps? Like, I mean, I saw you in that time, and I kind of knew how it worked. But were you trying to keep that on the down low?
I think a lot of people knew I had a serious ankle problem, but I don't think
maybe not to the extent.
Mate, yeah, probably.
Yeah, no, incredible. And Chelsea asked about how you managed to maintain your health and your mental capabilities through all the world's campaigns. We've discussed that your health was barely not health problems, but you've managed to have your fair share of shenanigans along the way. Just quality rehab, quality every time, or
one of the best things that happened to me was in 2016 I did an Ironman, and that really taught me about my body and about training and about the sports science behind it all. And that was a game changer.
Okay.
I can now train without being fatigued and sore all the time and feel fairly rested through most of my training.
Okay.
And that's a game changer.
And so it's led to a change in your training?
Yeah, massively.
Different training, or just smarter about it?
I guess like going for a bike ride I'm still going for a bike ride, or going to the gym, still going to the gym. But it's the it's all the science behind it all, with all your zones and your intensities and all your rest periods and intense periods that have changed.
Okay,
So-
and I know you're well up on all the food stuff and that. Like, is that way into it as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm pretty lucky. I'm a slow learner, but Luke, my brother, he's pretty smart. He reads a lot and
I wouldn't
knows a
undersell
lot.
any of you three lads, actually, but yeah.
And he tells me things for years before I try it, and you know, definitely every world gets easier and easier, or every training program gets easier and easier, and your diet changes and your training changes, and I could have a whole podcast just about.
Well, I
training
was
and
just
nutrition.
thinking the same thing.
So
I was like,
I won't get into it here.
no, it's because
But
we're chewing time. But
there's-
I was like, we could genuinely do another one based around nutrition / training.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it would be good because I know zero. So like, it'd just be you giving the facts and me just nodding, which is cool.
And the stuff that I know now, like when I first heard about it, you don't believe it.
It does make sense,
It does not make sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, for some, it would be a very interesting and eye-opening.
How do you think Grant Turner would go with it? As a man that likes his food.
I reckon that's something to discuss in that podcast.
Yeah, I was going to
too.
say, that's definitely... We can get him in as a guest. Hey, Pitch, have a go at this.
The moral of the whole scene is it's lots of little changes
Yep.
make a difference.
Yeah,
That's how the story rolls.
and
To
I think
improve from where you were.
Yeah,
It's
like
lots of small changes.
you two boys in front of me have that. Like, it's... I don't think you've ever been in a spot where you've, like, got this covered. Like, you're always looking for the next bit of info, the next way to make it... to improve what you're doing, whether it be your boat or your skiing.
We've tried some crazy shit when no one's looking.
Yeah. Oh, we've been looking. We just don't talk about it. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it's... And if you're not pushing to progress yourself, you're, like Benny said before, you're not getting the most out of...
If you're not trying ideas or looking at results of different things, then you're going to stay where you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
You look at all sports or businesses or motor racing or anything in the world, and every year or two they're evolving.
Yeah.
So unless you're able to keep evolving, if you keep doing the same thing you were doing yesterday, it's not good enough for today.
Well, you're actually going backwards, aren't you? If you're staying in the same spot and then moving ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think that to be so successful at something, you really actually need the ability to... You have to have the passion at the start, because the passion will drive the motivation to do it all. But you need to put the effort in, but you need to constantly improve, constantly reflect and go, righto, what did I do yesterday? What did I do last race? What do I need to do different next time? And if you can put those three together and do it over an extended period of time and have the right resources and people around you in like-minded, success will come. Results will come.
Well, and I don't think you can't do it for someone else. Like, you're not passionate about ski racing to keep Gerry happy, and Gerry's not passionate about ski racing to keep you happy necessarily. Like, both of you want your own... Like, you've got your own reasons and motivations. So that's... Yeah, if you just want to go, I'm going to do this because someone else, you're going to start losing the keenness, the passion, the...
Never do something for someone else.
Hey, you're married, Benny. You should be doing stuff for other people, mate. I know you haven't been married long.
That's a discussion from off podcast.
And I know Mrs. Gulley's just hiding in the back, so Gerry nodded. Yes, of course I do things for my wife. Be mad not to. All right.
But things like things that you do for enjoyment, you should never do for someone else. It should always be your own passion.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right, there's so much more I actually want to talk about, but we'll look at wrapping up. Before we do, some quick ones. You've skied with everyone, Benny. Like, I was going through and I was making a list of people you've skied with, and I was like, it's like everyone ever. Do you have a favourite partner?
put me on the spot here, Mick.
No, you're not going to upset anyone,
It
mate.
would have to be Nick Kelly, wouldn't it, on social?
Well, and why? Yeah. Do you have a favourite partner, and why is it me on social class?
Well,
You weren't enjoying that entire race.
I wasn't. You're right. I was in a lot of pain.
No, but that's like you've had both stouts.
I think there's too many to really actually come up with a favourite.
Yep.
And there's too many styles of races too. Because whether you're
100%.
social skiing down the river with some mates, or whether you're doing the Southern 80, or you're doing like a Grafton, or you're doing a Catalina, or whatever you're doing, the races bring different, or the environment brings different challenges.
Yeah.
So there's probably different people for different
spots. Yeah.
for different spots. So because of that, I'll just leave.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cop out, but we'll take it.
Yeah, and because there's
Diplomatic.
yeah, and there's just been too many people. Like I look
Yeah.
back, and there's been
Oh.
so many good times and so many unreal skiers I've skied next to and had the privilege of
Yeah,
racing with.
You've done so much, it'd be hard to narrow it down. Having said that, Jerry, if you had to have someone in a boat with you,
Oh, well, obviously, JP and me spent so long in a boat.
Yeah.
But I've had lots of good observers in the boat, so it's countless people to tell. But JP and me can nearly look at each other and know what we're thinking and doing.
Read in the face.
That's in
before the
later
heat move.
days. Wind your clock back to there, did over 10, 15 years straight observing with Don. Same thing there. He used to be able to look at me face back in the days before Intercom and get a fair idea what he needed to do. So
The young fella has got into watching ski racing on YouTube, and it was the Sydney Bridge where you seem to be disappearing to the back to do up the catch can lid.
Merkforce was having a bit of an oil consumption.
Did the
issue.
intercom cord reach to the back?
I put an extension on.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah,
Yeah,
problem
we had a
solved.
plan. We had to go and top up the oil level a few times to get to the other end.
You do what you
We had
gotta
a
do,
plan
don't you?
before the race started. We knew what was happening.
All right, fiercest competitors. Who would you? See, it's hard because in terms of racing, you're like, oh, who don't want to race because they're really good and they'll challenge you. But then there's also the option to have people you've raced against heaps where it's been competitive, but you've actually just really enjoyed, like who you're racing against. Benjamin.
Again, different style of racing. If it's world style racing, it's got to be like Todd Haig
Yeah.
and Catalina. Like in that rough sort of international scene, he's definitely the hardest bloke to rocks up consistently to knock off.
Yep. Yeah, beautiful. Jerry? If you had someone driving a boat next to you, who would you either not like it to be because they're working as hard as you are to beat them, or who would you like to have there that you'd just go, I know they're going to put it where...
Look, when you sort of do most of your racing in later years, you know the other competitors and they're up there for the same reason you are. They've got your respect, you've got theirs, and you can do some quite tight racing and be comfortable about it, So, back in our younger days, blokes like Hayden Wall, they'd teach you a few tricks and stuff. They'd lean on you and you'd learn their tricks.
Like Cranny taught me and Griffo a few early in the world's campaigns.
Yeah. So no, there's like I say, ski racing. We all want everyone to be there tomorrow because that's what makes ski racing.
100%.
So I think there's all the drivers got good respect. Yep.
All right, favourite venue. Not necessarily race. Favourite place you've gone to race.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna change this a little bit. Okay?
Do what you need to do, Benny.
Right, Vichy World 19. That racing style and format and boats on course to me was the most hectic, chaotic fun I've had on a ski in a long time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jerry?
Wasn't that much fun for me, man? I was glad when it was over.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Where do you like to go?
Oh no, I like them all.
Yeah, okay.
Mate, just first 45 minutes in the bay is fine, but the half an hour after that, just getting beat up, and that's not even racing. But enjoy that.
Yeah.
Until your back's hurting from getting.
To hurt. Yep.
Yep. And yeah, just all of it, you know. And I quite often have a saying, I'd rather win or lose by a second than win by a mile.
Yeah.
Because that's racing. Yes.
There's something about a close finish.
Yeah. Yes. So, you know.
All right. Favourite race you've done? And it's hard because your current ones are your most. But like you ski, you got a good one from skiing or?
Oh, so many I can't remember them.
Yeah.
You know. One's Ben's fault. I didn't get first. We missed by a second. He didn't want to tow me over much over 100 mile an hour. Too often running bets.
Makes sense.
Because his excuse was he wanted me at work that week. So I like giving him that one. It was Ben's turn to drive, Dad's turn to ski. But no, they're endless and countless, or it seems that way.
Yeah. Benny, you got one?
One race that sticks out is probably 2017 Catalina with the twin drive boat.
Yeah.
Dad driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
It's funny, isn't it? It's not always the ones you win that stick in your head. It's people. I've tried to explain to people that don't race, and they're like, "Oh, you know, is that your favourite race?" And I'm like, no, it's this one that 400 random things happened. You know, it was our one with Sports Page where we broke a rope, we missed a start, we put it up the bank, but like all the shenanigans.
And you made a ski handle out of
stick.
A stick.
Ben, you should have listened to me. I could have made it work. Like, nah, good time. All right, boys, it's unfair. There's so much more to do. So we will genuinely chat about a training one / nutrition one / whatever, because half the things I thought of we haven't even got to, but that's okay. Benjamin, thank you very much. Jerry, thank you.
That's a wrap. Thank you, Mick.
Anyone we need to thank, or Tracy's left, but thank her anyway in case she listens to it.
Well, starts with the wife.
Yeah.
It's just brothers,
Support.
sisters, families.
It's the support from everyone.
You guys always seem to have that really solid crew, which, yeah, it's amazing how much a little bit does every now and again, isn't it? Whether it's...
But it's the support not just on the race day, but after the race day. And, you know, the prep to race day, you know.
Yeah, beautiful.
And just change the subject. There's so many different things you look at. Like, I would say, Queensland have a very small amount of members compared to the rest of Australia. Yet when you look at it, I think since since 09, a Queenslander has won men's either F2 or F1 since 09 to 19. That's, you know.
I do like to remind people down south about that.
Peachy, Moore,
Well,
Gulley.
it's even,
Yeah.
but even like just racing, like, it's not just Benny and Wayne. Like there's a surprisingly, like, it is surprising, but like Weaves, like anyone that comes up, like we seem to be able to produce decent quality.
Yeah.
Maybe based on the fact we really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like it's...
But by the same token, when you're at Australian titles, you're competing as an individual. When you're at the Worlds, you are competing for Australia as an Australian.
Yeah.
So you don't actually... you look at it as it is.
Oh,
at
it's
the,
something...
at the time.
It is something to put that blazer on, and it changes it. But... Hey, I always say ski racing, like, you've got a shed full of trophies, you've done some cool stuff. Winning's just a better way to make fun of your friends. Like it doesn't mean that much in the long run, unless you've got someone you can tell about it. So it's more about the stories than the individual successes.
Winning's definitely a bonus because that's your ambition. That's what you're trying
chasing
to achieve. Yeah. But quite often it's the journey and the story getting there. It's not all about the window. It's the whole journey.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen.
No.
Quite often the harder the journey, the more rewarding the result is.
I think that's about as fitting a way to end it as possible. Thank you very much, lads.
Thank you.
We'll be chatting.
Thanks for having us, Mick.
Pleasure.
This episode of On the Road was brought to you by Coldy's Bull Bars and Tow Bars, Savage Force and Automation and Robotics Services. It was produced by Boris the Boxer Productions in conjunction with Bisho Media, Mel's Media and Bad Lad Productions.